"It's a suicide mission," said the Republican Party chairman. Reince Priebus was commenting on a Washington Post story about Mitt Romney and William Kristol's plot to recruit a third-party conservative candidate to sink Donald Trump. Several big-name Republican consultants and strategists are said to be on board. Understandably so, given the bucks involved. With the kind of cash that sloshes around in a presidential campaign, there should be no shortage of super PAC parasites at the enlistment office. Still missing, however, is the kamikaze pilot who gets just enough fuel to make it out to the fleet. Efforts to recruit Senator Ben Sasse, loudest of the never-Trump leaders, appear to have foundered. Second thoughts set in this weekend when the Nebraska State Republican Convention voted thunderously to chastise Sasse for persisting in his anti-Trump antics, now that the Republican nominee has been decided by the voters. Among others sounded out for the mission are ex-Senator Tom Coburn of Oklahoma, retired Marine Corps General James Mattis, former Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice, and Mark Cuban of the Dallas Mavericks. All have begged off. Apparently, Romney, the Republican Party's 2012 nominee, personally sounded out both Sasse and Governor John Kasich, who will be hosting the Cleveland convention where the coronation of the Donald is to be held. How Kasich could expect to beat Trump in November, when he lost every state primary to Trump, save his own, is unexplained. And, indeed, Romney's recruitment of Kasich raises a question. If Romney believes that Trump is an unacceptable nominee and would be an intolerable president, and that Republicans have moral obligation to prevent this, why does Romney not man up and take on the assignment himself? Now, admittedly, Cranbrook in Bloomfield Hills, where Romney attended, does not have a long tradition of producing suicide bombers. Yet, Romney is asking others to undertake a mission that will kill their careers and make them pariahs in their party, but will not do it himself. His father shared Romney's mindset: if the voters have made a mistake, you are not obligated to support it. Just days after Senator Barry Goldwater locked up the Republican nomination in the California primary, Governor George Romney was at the Cleveland Governor's Conference plotting to stop him. Richard Nixon arrived to encourage Romney to step out onto the tracks in front of the Goldwater Express. Romney thought better of taking Nixon's counsel. But he did join Governor Nelson Rockefeller in denouncing his own party for coddling extremists, and refused to endorse Goldwater, as son Mitt is refusing to endorse Trump. It was after that Cleveland convention that Nixon ruefully told me, "Buchanan, whenever you hear of a group forming up to stop X, be sure to put your money on X." In 1968, George Romney was so far behind Nixon in the early polls he dropped out, 2 weeks before New Hampshire. Though he quit the race, at the Republican convention in Miami Beach, he allowed his name to be put in nomination for vice president, to protest Nixon's selection of Spiro T. Agnew. Agnew crushed him. But whatever you say about the political savvy of George Romney, he was stubborn as a bull in his convictions, and he had the courage to go down to defeat fighting for them. Son Mitt, however, is pushing others into doing what he will not do. Why is Priebus right when he calls the entry of a third-party conservative in the presidential race a suicide mission? Such a candidate would siphon off votes that would otherwise go to Trump, bring down the ticket, and result in Hillary Clinton becoming the 45th president. That would mean the next 3 justices on the Supreme Court would be in the tradition of Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Elena Kagan, and Sonia Sotomayor. And that would mean Roe v. Wade would never be overturned, affirmative action would be forever, and the social revolution that declared same-sex marriage a constitutional right would roll on. A Clinton presidency would also mean Obamacare is forever. The Romney-Kristol collusion thus overlaps nicely with the interests of the Clinton campaign and the agenda of the Beltway media elite. By scheming to divide the Republican base, they are colluding to bring about the defeat of the Republican Party. And that means Bill and Hillary Clinton back in the White House. In 1980, Republican Congressman John Anderson, defeated by Ronald Reagan in the primaries, refused to endorse him, and ran as a third-party candidate. As of June, Anderson had 24% of the vote and Reagan was losing to President Carter. Fortunately, as Anderson moved left, he began to sink and draw as much from Carter as from Reagan. What the never-Trump folks refuse to face is this transparent reality. Either Trump or Clinton is going to be the next president. To the degree they succeed in wounding or killing Trump's candidacy, they advance Clinton's chances of succeeding Obama. The Romney-Kristol cabal is Hillary Clinton's fifth column inside the Republican